For the final stage of the build, I still needed to prime and paint a couple of parts for the exterior, so I started off with a light coat of primer from Splash Paints and then moved on to applying different shades of black and also some silver here and there. The barrel of the wheel needed to be a chrome-like finish, and I wanted to test out Splash Paints' 2K Black to see how glossy it actually is and how well it works, and then also applied the Hyper Silver on top of it after the 2K had enough time to cure, of course, to replicate that chrome-like finish. The black does cover okay, it's not great if I must be honest, and the silver is more of a silver chrome blackish finish than it is an actual silver chrome finish. Nonetheless, it looked really cool and had a good look to it. The face of the wheel needed to be painted in two different colors. The first one for the main face is going to be a gunmetal. I just mixed up some black and silver in order to create a nice gunmetal finish. Then after curing, I masked it off carefully and cut out along the spokes to keep the main face masked off, and then paint the inside part with a silver. Some of the clear parts also required a bit of attention, so I stuck on the masking that came with the kit itself on the inside, then came to the conclusion that they were not the right size and needed to be trimmed a little bit on pretty much all of them. So for the front, rear, and also the small side ones, I had to trim them in order to actually fit on the pattern that is in the clear part itself. Once that was all done and masked up, I could move on to applying a couple coats of flat black, and then start unmasking after it had cured. The rear taillight lenses already come pre-painted or pre-molded in a clear red, so those don't really need all that much work, but the front ones needed a little bit of attention on the side to add a small clear orange indicator strip. And the rear lights also had a secondary light underneath it. I think it's the reverse light and maybe also the mist light, but I'm not sure. Those were tinted slightly with a smoke finish, and then I could move on to painting the headlight buckets themselves with a matte silver finish and also a flat black, before starting to glue in the main clear parts and various of the other components on the inside of the body. Since pretty much all of the bumpers have been completely cut up and changed to new ones, not all of the stock parts want to fit in place as they supposedly should with the stock body panels on them, so here and there I did need to cut and trim them a little bit in order for them to have a nice fit and finish. Same for some of the taillight lenses and headlight lenses. They needed a little bit of adjustment, just sanding it off slightly on some of the edges in order to get a perfect fit. Once all of the parts on the inside of the body had been put in place and had proper time to actually let the glue cure, I could move on to putting the chassis and interior into the body itself. The exhaust tips that come with the standard Nismo kit from Tamiya are already nicely sized, and I really wanted to use them as I figured they would look really good. However, on the conversion kit from Decalshop, it supposedly needs some other ones that might be a little bit smaller. I didn't have any, so I just wanted to use these and therefore had to widen the holes a little bit for the stock ones to fit, and could then move on to mounting the wheels together, putting the tires on, creating the correct offset, just cutting off a little bit on the inside of the wheel until I was completely satisfied with the way the offset looked and all of the wheels aligned nicely. I could then put in the shaft from Tamiya, which needed to be shortened just a little bit, apply all of the poly caps in the wheels, press them in place, and they now still function as they were supposed to by the kit itself. For some additional details on the exterior, I wanted to add some rivets in on the over fenders. These are supposed to be there on the actual car. They are a little bit detailed on the body kit that I used from Decalshop, but I wanted to accentuate them even more and make them more realistic. So I drilled out all of the holes and inserted some Studio 27 actual metal rivets. Since I of course used an entirely new body kit, including the hood, the stock cowl of the windshield wipers from the Tamiya kit didn't actually fit, and therefore it needed to be removed, and I simply just needed to glue the wipers onto the glass straight away instead of using the cowl, because that didn't fit like I just said. After those had been glued in place, I could finalize the details on the wheels, painting these center pieces with a chrome finish, installed the actual final part on the spoiler, and therefore finished off this build. So as you might have seen in the video series itself, it was an incredible lot of work to get the actual exterior up to par, finishing off all the entire body kit parts, and then of course the immense paint job too. In the end, I'm super happy with the way that it turned out, and it is an incredible addition to my Fast and Furious collection of scale models, and of course one of many more to come in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed this series, and I will see you next time.